All right, what's up, guys? By the time you're watching this, it is January 3rd. I'm filming on January 2nd. I'm being pretty lazy, even though it's a new year and I'm supposed to be super active. But that being said, I thought as the first video coming back, because it's been a year, I would just talk about how to get started. It's really annoying because when I look at YouTube and I look at all these famous influencers and just people I like to be like, or I don't know how you put it, people I just want to learn from, they always they don't tell you anything. And I mean that in a very respectful way to certain people. Like, I know there is a lot of good videos talking about how to get started on YouTube and how to become a filmmaker and weddings and all of that. But they always give you like a part one, a part two, and just this, I don't know, I guess I'm just used to TikTok and kind of how that is. And it's just really annoying because you as the learner, you just want to learn as much as you can and you want to get out there and shoot. So today's video, we're not going to be stopping. And if you are busy right now, you can also listen on the podcast. I will have this on Spotify and all those other different applications. So hopefully that can help you. And I know you guys will hopefully learn from something in today's video. So the first things first, I always say that. I have some points just because I'm going to forget, because I know a lot and I've just experienced a lot of different fields of photography and videography. So I had to make some points just because I always forget what I'm trying to say. All right, so the first thing you got to realize when you're starting as a photographer and videographer is what you actually want to do. Because I learned this the hard way. When you go on travel and you go on trips and everything, you have the position to do two things. One, when you see a location, you can either take a photo or you can take a video. So you're going to have to realize that, because a lot of times you can't do both. You have to focus and you got to learn your composition, your shots, and your story. So that's first thing. You just got to learn what you want to do. And of course, you can do both. I do that. I love photos and I also love video. But at the end of the day, I have decided that I'm going to be a videographer. So once you figure out what one you want to be, the second thing I have is you just got to start. I mean, how I started is I worked and then my friend gave me a camera. I was very blessed to have a camera. Normally, you'd have to invest it, or if you don't have rich parents or whatever it may be, you'd have to work to buy the camera. So that's why I say you just got to work with whatever you have. You may have an iPhone, you may be blessed to have an Android or whatever it may be. We live in better days than what they had in the back. We don't have like the Sony cam or anything like that. We have amazing technology. For instance, I don't have my phone with me, but my iPhone 12 is like insane and I can almost vlog on that. So definitely start with what you have first, and that's going to help you know the basics of composition. And of course, iPhones and everything do everything on auto. So I would say try and buy a cheap camera, like a Nikon camera. That's basically a camera everyone starts on. I like Nikon, but I shoot on Canon, or a Sony a6300. Those are really good. Those are a little bit more expensive. So starting out, you might just want to buy the cheapest option and just say, this is all I have, and I'm going to work with what I have. So then you can start. This is what I did. A lot of people use kit lenses, and the problem with kit lenses is nothing's wrong with them. You can learn amazing compositions and everything, but the aperture is always like 3.5, or when you zoom, it changes the aperture, and it's not good for low light. So what I would do is, if you have a crop body, I would buy a 50mm 1.8. Those are very cheap, the nifty 50. Everyone loves them. And even though some of those are cropped on a crop sensor, so basically for me, I had a T4i and I upgraded to a 50mm 1.4. So when I put it on my T4i, it was basically like I think it was almost like an 85. So it was kind of annoying because I'd always have to back up like super, super far. And it was never the actual like aperture, I guess, or the focal length. So that's what I had to do. And it worked really good because the photos came out so crisp. And people didn't know if I had like a 5D Mark IV or whatever I had, just because I learned my techniques and my equipment. Of course, there were a lot of limitations. I couldn't shoot like directly in the sun because I would get so much chromatic aberration. And I just learned you just can't shoot in the sunlight because the camera the sensor can't handle it. Or mine couldn't, for instance. I had like a T4i. I couldn't shoot above ISO 800 and it was just a pain in the butt. So what I would do is I'd always shoot during normal hours. And then if I had to shoot in low light, I would just up the noise reduction and I would do anything I possibly could to fix it and just get a better photo. For video is harder because my cameras didn't have good autofocus. So basically I'd use everything in manual focus. I would know where my focusing distance is and I would keep it on manual just so it wouldn't hunt, because it would go like stuff like that. So that's what I've learned, and that's what helped me learning photography and videography, is I would just shoot every day. It's funny, my dad used to say back in the day, like, Josh, you have your camera with you everywhere. And I'd say yes because I want to learn. So that's just what I've done. And that's helped me a lot and just progress way faster than other people I know. There's some photographers and videographers I talk to in the field, and they're like, I started when I was 30. I wish I started when I was your age. I would be a lot better now. And I would just be doing what I love earlier instead of going to college and then getting debt and then realizing, hey, you know what? I actually want to be a videographer even though you're like 5 years late. But it doesn't really matter when you start. You could be a lot older or you could be a lot younger. It's just a matter of starting because you're going to have to practice. There's a lot of fundamentals when you start photography, especially for me. If I don't shoot in a month and I get back to photography, I kind of either like don't feel motivated. I have no like reason to shoot. I just feel really like dull and tired. Now again, this rut of just mental block and I just don't want to do anything. So that's why you just got to always be creative and just always push yourself. Don't push yourself too hard. There's limits. Got to make sure everything's out of balance. And that is just what's helped me. All right. So third question is, do you want to do this for a living or you just want to do it on a side hustle or do you actually just do it for fun? That is one thing you got to realize because there's different methods to investing, like me, $2,000 in equipment or just keeping it light and simple. Like I have a friend who shoots everything on a Canon 60, which is like, I think the camera costs like $800 and she doesn't upgrade because it's everything she's needed and she can make money, but she doesn't have to buy the latest equipment every year like me for video. So once you realize that, you can realize what your limits are in saving money versus just going all out like me, knowing that this is everything I want to do and this is what I want to invest all my money in because I want to get bigger jobs. So realize that. Do you want to go to college? Do you not? Me personally, I wouldn't go to college because I would rather invest money in workshops because those are people that are actually making six-figure incomes and everything with photography today versus when you go to college, you got to go semester by semester. And if you're going to go to Hollywood, I get that. Like you have to go to a prestigious film school. But me personally, I would just rather invest that money into workshops and learn from people that are already way ahead of you and they can give you shortcuts like what I'm doing right now. And they can help you. And hopefully that will just push you a little bit further than what you were doing with semesters or going to college. So that's just me personally. That's my take. You can go to college if you want. You can get a lot of debt. You can learn, which is my next part. You got to get some experience and you also got to build connections. I have a lot of friends that go to like community college and it's all about fun and they go in the studio, which is really cool. Like going to the studio is really nice, but you're not like making money. Like my thing is about actually making a full-time income doing video and photos because I want to do this for my career. I don't do it just for, I mean, I do it kind of for fun, but I want to actually like make money with my gift and what I'm doing. So I try to always learn from other people and get experience, but also learn from mentors and people and just building relations with so many talented videographers that help me and I help them and we just grow this healthy community. It's funny, like I have this video group chat where we'll post videos and a lot of times my videos will not be up to par and I'll have to change things. But the thing is, they have I shouldn't say better, they have a different insight on what they think it needs. And it's awesome because they actually know. Like I wouldn't go to my parents and be like, what should I add? Because they're not videographers or they're not photographers, so they wouldn't know. So that's what I do. I learn from people and I get experience, and that is how I get better. I don't go to college just because I feel like I'm wasting time versus actually getting out in the field and making money and building those relationships. All right, this is the final thing. What type of photo or video are you going to be? Because when you start, you're kind of taking photos of everything. Like you're doing concert photography, you're doing weddings, you're doing anything because you're just trying to learn, which is fine. Like you can do that for as long as you want. But at the end of the day, you have to kind of separate yourself from the rest of the group, as I should say. So for instance, what I did is I realized I want to be a videographer. I'll do photos on my own time and just for fun. But at the end of the day, when people call me, I do marketing and I also do videos. So you got to realize, do you want to be a portrait photographer? Do you want to do weddings? Whatever it may be, that's what you have to center your niche around, and you just got to go all in. I have a friend who does car photography and who's insane, and he gets so many likes just from that because all the people that follow him, they realize, hey, I'm going to see car photography, or hey, I'm going to see portraits. And not necessarily, you can switch it up, but I'm just saying, if you want to get more clients and you want to build that portfolio, you should try and focus on one niche and become really, really good. I don't believe in multitasking, which it's funny because I talked about photo and video, But the thing about multitasking for me is you're just doing a lot of things wrong. You're not focusing on one thing, becoming really good. You're just half doing a lot of things and you're not growing as fast as you should versus just saying, hey, I want to do only this. So in conclusion, I hope this helped you. And if you guys have any feedback, just let me know. If you're on YouTube, just comment down below or subscribe. I would love it. And if you're listening on the podcast, I hope you learned something today and you can apply it to your life. I don't have the perfect method to become a better videographer or photographer. I'm just showing you what I've learned, and hopefully this can jumpstart you, because I've spent countless hours on the social medias and the web that people just giving little teasers of information versus telling me everything in one podcast. So that's what this podcast is for. It's not information to hold back on me to get you guys to watch more and grow my audience. It's just a matter of just telling it like it is. And I don't have to be fancy. I don't have to make all these cool stories. It's just simply talking with you guys and hopefully teaching you what I've learned. And so you don't have to waste time. Peace. Love you all. And I hope you like the setup, because this is where I'm going to be for a lot of the podcasts.